let's discuss the data of this question. This question is saying an analysis of entities 150000 accounts receivable at year end resulted in 5000 ending balance for its allowance for uncollectible accounts and bad debt expense is 2000, right? So basically this question is saying that you are going to have the closing balance of allowance for doubtful debts. We usually call it provision for doubtful debts as well. This is the closing balance of allowance for uncollectible accounts. Okay, so 2000 happens to be the bad debt expense. During the past year, recoveries on bad debts previously written off were correctly recorded at 500, right? So previously there were some bad debts, but now these bad debts, out of these bad debts, 500 happens to be collected. If the beginning balance in the allowance for uncollectible accounts was 4700, this is the opening balance of allowance for uncollectible accounts. What was the amount of accounts receivable written off as uncollectible during the year? So you need to calculate account receivable written off during the year. There are many methods to solve this question, but I prefer that if you're good in debits and credits and making T account, so I will advise you that you go ahead with making a T account of account of provision for doubtful debts or uncollectible accounts. I'm going to just make it in front of you so that you are able to understand that how to make it, right? Okay, so this is my T account, and this account is for provision for doubtful debts, or usually in US GAAP we call it allowance for uncollectible accounts, right? So allowance for uncollectible accounts, this is the account you are going to make it out, right? Or sometimes maybe you heard about, or in your jobs you are going to prepare this account. This is called provision for doubtful debts, right? Provision for doubtful debts. Okay, so here I need to understand that what is the opening balance. Here in the question it's mentioned that opening balance happens to be 4700. This is the opening balance. I'm just going to write it down over here. Okay, and what is the closing balance? The closing balance is $5,000. Okay, I will write it down over here. CL means closing balance 5,000. Okay, now in the data it's mentioned that bad debt expense of $2,000, right? So this $2,000 is basically going to come over here. This is the bad debt during the year. This is over here. Now why this thing is coming over here? This is like a double entry. I'm just going to write in front of you the double entry for this thing. The double entry is bad debt debit, bad debt account debit, and allowance for uncollectible accounts, or I call it provision for doubtful debts credit, right? So this amount is going over here, $2,000, right? Okay, after that in the question it's been written that $500 which were previously written off, now they are basically recovered. So what is the double entry for this thing? The double entry is basically you are going to debit your receivables. The receivables will be debit again, right? And after that the provision account, provision for doubtful debts account will be credited, right? So here you are going to mention over here that this is, I will say REC. REC means recovery of $500, right? So once you are going to balance this T count, you are going to get 2,000 and 200, right? Now what is this 2,200? This is basically the amount of accounts receivable, accounts written off during the year, right? So you can do this question in this way as well, or otherwise like here it's mentioned that beginning balance of allowance, add bad debts, add recoveries, or you're going to end the closing allowance, and in that case you are going to get accounts written off, this which is the which is the same thing, you know, right? So accounts written off. So I advise you that if you are in good in debits and credit, you go ahead with this T accounts. In that case, the chances of wrong answer, they are reduced to almost zero. So if you guys are having some issues in debit and credit, you need to watch my another video which is for basic financial accountancy, where I explained the concepts of debit and credits, you know. Okay, so I hope you understand this question. Thank you.